Hi guys, Bolt here once again, and this is a replay commentary of a match I already posted before, but that was a live commentary, and now we're going into kind of the replay so we can analyze some of the gameplay that went on in this match. It was quite a good match. I really enjoyed playing this one. Good opponents, definitely some mistakes made on our end, and also on their end, so we're going to analyze both and see how we can better deal with good opponents, but also how to play on this map, because personally I really dislike this map because it's kind of just weird. It really favors just cheap good tanks, especially because everything is kind of close quarters, you know, 1500 meters range max with most tanks, and I feel like 7th Panzer, for example, is a really good choice, especially 79, and we went for 82nd and 8th mechanized, which in hindsight not the best battle groups to play with, but still quite capable, so we're not blaming the battle groups here for the outcome of this match, which was definitely a fun one to play. So yours truly is playing as the US mech, so we're moving LRS squad up to the left. We have 2 air rifles that we were initially planning to do an airborne insurgent with on the left side there, but we're cancelling that afterwards. We have a couple of engineers and mech rifles, and also a couple of rangers, chaparrals, PVADs, and supplies that are going all over the left side here. We have an OH-58 going to the middle, and that LRS is going all the way to the front, to kind of just keep an eye on the enemy. Now on the right side we have 82nd by Beats. He's investing quite a bit into this zone here, which is Delta, and he's going to try to lock this down immediately and go from there. In hindsight, every time I play on this side I like to kind of push here and maybe just try to block there and there. Definitely is a bit more dangerous to do that, because then you can kind of branch out and, you know, butterfly into this sector. But that always works quite nicely. We're just going to speed things up here. And for the beginning, we're just going to keep it in neutral, and or my point of view, and we will occasionally change it to neutral to kind of analyze what both teams are doing. And we'll go that way. Alright, so MBK starts off with planes. We have 2 MiG-20, well, a MiG-21 BIS and a MiG-23. They're just quickly, by the looks of it, they're just moving in to scout the area. The MiG-21 BIS evacuates. This guy is still up and running. It's a good thing we canceled the helicopter attack that we had planned for the left side, because NATO Boy has Mi-24s. He really does love his airborne gameplay for sure, from all the games that I've played against him. And luckily it's not as bad now, but when NATO Boy plays as 3rd Armored, it's basically only A-10, so just so you guys know. It'll be A-10s, Eagles, and Recon Helis. So it's nice to see a little bit of difference here. It's quite nice. Quite refreshing. So we're moving up the LRS. The LRS spots the Mi-2. We have our engineers and rangers that we're unloading in the forest instead. We have quite a lot of AA here. MBK does mark all of our units, which is quite plentiful. But we have our chaparrals that are on attack move, and we have our PVADs as well that are gonna deal with that. Yeah, if you just look on the right side here, quite a big of an overinvestment into this sector, definitely. Especially since NATO Boy only has a Strela and 2 tanks over there for the entire sector. And there's quite a lot of us over here. Main bulk is really on the left side, but MBK, I'm guessing, hoped that I would do a big assault on that sector there, which we haven't done yet. We got a nice hit with the Chaparral actually, and we managed to destroy the MiG-21 BIS, the bomber variant of that at least. On the middle, Mi-24V, the AA version, is moving in. Our AA is kind of preoccupied. We had to stop it for all those planes. So I usually just, at that point, try to get up close and personal, or at least draw the fire with like a strong unit like the M60. Then the PVADs finally get into range, and we start blasting away at the Mi-24. And we deal a huge amount of damage and take that out in 2 bursts, which is nice to see. Bags doing their job again. Over here we have a Vulcan, which is radar, by the way. Don't forget about that. Vulcan and the PVADs are both radar. So I call in a F-16 to try to deal with that Mi-24. Luckily though, we actually survive. We don't destroy it, but we survive. And really good micro here by NATO Boy, moving the Strelas away after they've revealed their position. So on the left side here, I'm basically just trying to fill up this area with as many units as possible. But we're playing against MBK, who's playing as the 7th Panzer. And if you're playing against 7th Panzer, it is dangerous to let the 7th Panzer turtle, because if you turtle, 7th Panzer is just gonna buy T-72s at some point. There's another one coming out. But we really don't have the firepower to push against the 7th. I'm playing quite defensive. We have M60s, a couple of M1A1s, 4 at most. So we simply don't have the firepower to play super aggressive against 7th Panzer, so we're just buying mech rifles, and more mech rifles. So hopefully stop those tanks with the M47s. So we're also getting more and more pattons. We're getting a couple of mortars out, and we have some more engineer flashes and rangers. And those are all going to the left to possibly push in through that sector. On the right side, once again, the sector is pretty much empty, and that is quite sad to see here, actually. Theoretically, you could just fast move over this road and get into that sector, no problem. But yeah, hindsight is always 20/20. Over here, I'm getting blasted here by Nadaboy and MBK. Mech rifles, unfortunately, just not fast and or accurate enough to deal with all that firepower. But yeah, for certain units like, you know, BMP-1s and stuff, they're really good. But against really heavy tanks like that, it's just hard to do. Yeah, M60 also, decent gun, mainly because of its rate of fire and accuracy. But in terms of front armor and AP value, not a good tank. It's a lower medium tank, I would say. Yeah, this BTR-60 is looking like it's gonna actually make it behind our lines. I did not notice that guy, but we'll see what happens there. Currently, they are +3. Beats still has a really defensive situation going on the right. Not really much is moving. There's a bit of recon probing, it seems. But what I can already guess is that this probe of recon is going to cause Nadaboy to heavily invest in this area and make it almost impossible to push. So this is a tip for everyone, including me, to just be bold sometimes and just do a big push on an area you might think is heavily defended. Basically, have units ready here, move like 1 or 2 units over, and if they make it, move in the rest. So you always have like you know, an attacking force ready to go wherever you find you know, a weak point in their front. But because this guy, or well, not this guy specifically or particularly, but now Nadaboy is probably going to start buying units. Yep, there it is, to reinforce that zone. So the element of surprise is kind of already ruined there. Meanwhile here, I am literally holding on my own against Nadaboy and MBK, which is quite a sad time. Beats is helping with a Toe Cobra, which is doing quite a good amount of work actually on a Modestrelica and Sapri there. So he's helping me with a couple of helicopters and is now also getting a Toe too. But in general, it is quite a painful situation right now. So I'm buying a couple more recon units. Speaking of recon, on the left side we have destroyed that vehicle. That is nice to see. That would have definitely been a bit of a problem. And all the Toe Cobras from Beats are actually being quite a good help to try to clean up some of that Modestrelica. But it is all just a play, because this is really where the main push is happening here. We have a couple of infantry units, Seekeroons, Pioneers, BMPs, ATGMs, 2 T-72s, Special Aufklärer, and BMP-1P. That is really kind of the main push, and this is, from what I can tell, meant to just keep us on the back foot. But the main breakthrough seems to be building up here, which is quite interesting to see. But yeah, as I said, once again, right side is just completely empty. Sometimes you just gotta just fast move into the sector and just, yeah, try it. On the left, I could have done that too. There really isn't much here, so next time I'm also going to just do some bold moves, or make some bold moves. So lesson learned. So yeah, LRS, they don't have any anti-tank weapons. Mech rifles have close range anti-tank. These guys do, or medium range, these guys do have close range with the AT4. But MBK does really well here with his micro, moves his tank back until we're, you know, engaged already, or like semi-halfway stunned and all that kind of stuff. Before he moves in his tank, to kind of just limit the danger. We do get a really nice hit here with the iHawk on the MiG-23, we take that out. But we do get some good hits with some of our units. Mech Rifle is gonna try to get into that building. This poor Stinger team is caught out in the open against 2 tanks. Definitely not the best day for him. And unfortunately we don't get a good hit on that. F-111 coming in, that's from me with the laser guided bombs. We get a good hit on a T-80, and that actually does a good amount of damage. I didn't expect that one to do that much damage on a T-80 BVK. And that is with the ERA, by the way. Otherwise, it would have been on 3 HP? Yeah, he would have 2 less HP, basically. But that's a good amount of damage for an F-111. That is relatively cheap. Like 210 points, I believe, for that. So not too bad at all. Opponents are still +3. Right side is now reinforced, so that push is going to be much more difficult to do. Middle still has NATO Boy and MBK pushing up against me and now a little bit of Beats. Beats' units, which are out in the open, unfortunately, so these airborne dragons, they are going to get smacked left and right. Let's see if this dragon hits the BMP. Nope, unfortunately it does not. Ooh, F-111 makes it out once again. I'm not quite sure what we bombed with it. But its survivability is actually decent. When against these kind of units, though. We do have some artillery coming in from Beats. The 105s are going at it. They were basically firing at the blob of AA and tanks that was in that patch of the woods. But the main issue really is on the left side, in my opinion, because the middle is always kind of a toss-up. The left, in this case, we're not gonna be doing so hot. We do have Rangers here, but they're almost dead. Seekerungs are being a good recon. We have our M60s at close range, which is quite a good tank to use in this kind of scenario. But he can just poop out more tanks than I will ever be able to. So 7th Panzer is once again just going to keep buying tanks. There's now also Akatsias being purchased. There's a FOB over there. Mi-24 is getting ready to come back to the front line. Here it's a total clustercluck with the amount of Motostrelakis, Vapries, tanks, and BMPs. So really nice combination of units here by NATO Boy. And we're trying to just hold on the left side with this M60 here. Moving it to the edge of the forest so that other units can possibly help. This guy's getting fixed up. So we smoke in front of us, and then we fall back with this guy. We'll move this to the edge so that it can fire on anything. T-72 trying to come out of the tree line, and it blasts one of our M60s away, unfortunately. That was a painful day for our M60. But yeah, once again, now the right side is actually looking like it's in trouble because we haven't really moved much, and we've now given NATO Boy the ability to kind of, create kind of a pincer move around this entire sector and lock all these units in place, while I am basically getting doubled now, with, of course, the help of Beats. So Beats is also playing super defensive on the right and helping on the left with these Humvee AGLs, some Stinger teams, commands, and Dragon units. But yeah, it is simply not going to be enough here. Now on the left, we haven't given up on this idea yet, because that is really all this is, to potentially do a attack into this sector with these units. But you have to be realistic with those kind of pushes and only do them basically when they can actually make a difference. Now the Strela double tapped my Cobra. Quite a bad time. This tow Cobra, I'm just basically hoping for it to evade as many of those missiles as possible and get up close and personal so we can do some damage here. There's quite a lot of AA here. There's an Igla team there and a Strela over there. But we do get relatively close here and get that Gatling and Hydro Rockets working on some of these guys. But once again, we get 2 tapped. Really good RNG on these units. Quite nice to see that some units are actually accurate. Look at that. Yeah, I think on this map, honestly, you just gotta forget about the rest. The right side. You just gotta put recon, you know, like a man pad. At least to have a recon heli or something. But the main push And that's why I don't like this game, is always just one sector. It's always just this middle sector. That is the problem with some of the maps in this game. It just kind of creates... It's not a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing. It just feels kind of a waste to play on a beautiful map like this, but not have to really worry about the flanks that much when the main focus is kind of the middle. So it really kind of just diminishes the types of gameplays that you should do, especially when you're playing a competitive match like this. So the mortars that we had, these M125s, they're actually not too bad. 81mm. I mean, they're not gonna do an insane amount of damage, but they are okay for smoking, and they're okay for some light suppression. But you definitely should get the 120s if you want to do some actual damage. So yeah, T-72s now being spawned in pretty much every minute. We have 2 M60s. They are just not going to be enough. We barely do any damage at this range. And yeah, look at that. 2 HP damage, 4 HP damage after 2 shots, and we are dead after 2 shots. So you can already kind of see the difference in unit quality there. Ooh. 2 cubs actually missed. And, wow, 3 cubs missed. Oh, we, Mr. Beach definitely missed Michael there. Okay. That one hit. Yeah, that's definitely going down now. Or not? Holy, okay, never mind. That was quite a bad RNG by those cubs. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. So at this point, when a game kind of comes up to this state or stage, I try to make something bold happen. And the only thing I can think of is just a blob of helicopters to maybe do a flank, get into the enemy sector, try to capture it, you know, that kind of stuff. But if you just look at the amount of AA there is, there's 1, 2, 3, okay, these are out of ammo, but still, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, 7 AA units on the left side alone. 8 actually. So there's 8 AA units on the left, so good focus on anti-air for sure by our opponent here. F-111 once again coming in, destroying a T-72, so that was nice to see. But basically there's like almost 2 AA pieces for each of our Blackhawks, which is definitely a bad ratio for our units. +3, 3 minutes left for a victory for our opponents here. NATO Boy is doing a flank through the sector, but it is not really looking good for the right flank. This is basically all cut off from us now. These units are surrounded. I'm surrounded on the left, basically pushed up against this hill here. And we initiate our last-ditch effort on the left. One of these helis has a command in it, but we instantly get absolutely annihilated by the anti-air, which really surprised me, to be honest. They were being quite nicely, quite accurate, not gonna lie. And all those PKTs and NSVTs are definitely helping out nicely as well. They're doing a lot of damage. But yeah, that really didn't work how we hoped for it to work. And even if we did get into that sector, I think it would have been a short-lived kind of incursion into that area, because we would definitely be surrounded by everything, and we don't have the unit power to push out of this kind of area. If I had 3rd Armored, maybe with all the Abrams and Apaches I could call in, but other than that, we just don't have the firepower to do anything too crazy. They're quite... 82nd is definitely an A type battle group, which means really good at pushing, not so much at defending. Well, it depends on the map as well. 8th Mech is a good balanced battle group, but it kind of lacks that big punch that you might need against 2 armored battle groups as opponents. But at this point, well, we already knew that we were going to lose anyway, so we try to do some fun things here. We have some Cobras moving in, testing out their AA. We actually managed to do managed to destroy that AA unit there finally. And we start doing some damage on all these units. That was quite fun to do. But yeah, 45 seconds left for a loss. We also try to do that kind of similar move on the right side here. Finally. Because that really kind of just proves that there really isn't much here defending this sector. But unfortunately the command gets shot down by Estrella. And we don't get to take over that zone. Which probably wouldn't have made a huge difference. But it might have opened a way for us to maybe push up on the right side. Because this is also kind of empty. But again, we just don't have the firepower to do any, you know, to make any big moves happen on the right side either. We have M1 IPs. Like, that's it. And there goes that poor plane. That was a seaplane that got shot down there. But yeah, good game in general though. Definitely enjoyable. We didn't even go that negative. We went quite neutral in terms of KD, I believe. Yeah, I mean 32 to 35, that's not bad. And a 2100 to 2500. Pretty good, pretty good. iHog did some damage, M60s did okay. F111 was definitely not doing too bad. Yeah, but those T80s, completely outmatched, definitely when it comes to tanks. We really couldn't deal with that too much. Tunguska did some damage too, man, look at that. But yeah, really good game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the replay commentary and analysis of this match as well. Definitely good opponents, fun battle groups to play with, and I just hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, let me know down in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more WARNO. Take care.